Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. More Blood and Plunder here as we're working our way through more of the native factions. Today we're taking a look at the Darien, and that's roughly 1600 to 1800. Now, as always, there's some general rules that apply for the natives, and that's no size 2 or larger ships. If you are the attacker in a scenario, you can deploy half your units rounding down, following lay in wait. Basically like a little bit more of an advanced deployment. Any ship that you do take will have paddles for free and no artillery, which makes sense. Now, there's two special rules for this list, and that is the first one: if any of your units really, they have to take bows and thrown weapons and pay the points for doing so if the option is available to them, which we'll see is basically going to be for all of your units because you have a very limited selection in this list. All units also gain hard chargers, which is going to, again, steer this towards a very aggressive list and reward charging in whenever possible. Bonus in close combat, basically, on the charge when you for that fight action. So especially good for the warriors, but even the young warriors can do some work. So speaking of which, those are your two unit choices. You got core units in support, warriors, and young warriors. We'll take a look at the units specifically in just a minute just to show you guys what you have to do as far as the upgrades go. Now, command options: any Southern Tribes commander, Don Andreas, Don Pedro, or King Golden Cap as well. Now, if we were playing at the army scale, it gets kind of interesting here. Scottish militia, interesting combination, right? English buccaneers or French buccaneers. We could take the Brethren of the Coast as well, or bring in the Spanish militia. But yeah, Scottish militia is a fun one there. So let's take a look at what we have to do here as far as the bows and thrown weapons go. And then we'll kind of walk into what that really entails for the units. So we get the young warriors. Those are our support guys. So they start as inexperienced, pretty average values there for fight and shoot. Good morale, though, resolve of 5. They have quick, hidden scouts, support warriors, warrior archers, and warrior musketeers. And then add to that hard chargers because of the list. So they come with bows and standard melee weapons, so we cannot, in this list, remove the bows. And we actually have to pay the 3 points for the unit to add thrown weapons into the mix as well. So depending on the size of the unit, right, these guys are 4 points a pop, and then we're going to add a 3-point tax to that as well. But can do some pretty working with hard chargers, right? They're going to be swinging at a fight value of 5 on the charge. So good stuff there. But then let's slide all the way over to the warriors, which at some point I wish that we would get some models that actually would have that particular look there with the large native club. So these guys, again, are core units, bread and butter here. They start as trained. They come with heavy melee weapons and standard melee weapons, but we're going to be saying goodbye to the heavy melee weapon. Fight of 5, so already a 5 built in, which, when we get on the charge there with hard chargers, that's going to go down to a 4, which just makes them scary as hell. Shoot of 6, resolve of 6, so ironically a little bit weaker resolve than the young warriors, but that's probably just because they're more young and reckless. But here we got quick, skirmishers, hidden, and scouts, and again hard chargers to add to it as well. So we can get these guys into veteran status, which is really good. We cannot take the pistols as main weapons for 1 point per model, as the way I understand the list. Might be wrong on that. We can add musket sidearms for 4 points for the unit, not per model, but again, I think we're kind of precluded from doing that, although might need to double check that. If somebody knows for sure if we get that, I know we have to have the bows and thrown weapons, but I'm kind of curious if we can take those as upgrades. It does make them a lot more expensive though, because we're going to be paying a tax for the bows. Now here we can exchange the heavy melee weapons for thrown weapons at no cost, so we're forced to do that. So say goodbye to that, but at least there's no cost there. But we have to take thrown weapons and bows. So on this one, we're going to pay a 1-point tax to get bows for all of these guys as well. So certainly still going to be very scary in close combat, even with the standard weapon, because we're going to be swinging, if we get that charge off, hard chargers will come in, and that fight will go to a 4, basically, on that. So really good stuff there. Shooting is, again, pretty average across the board, but we get our thrown weapons and the bows. Again, going to pause on that and say I'm not sure if we know if we get the pistols and muskets necessarily, but if we wanted to just make it very thematic and say, hey, we don't have any European weaponry. Got basically 2 units with bows and thrown weapons and standard melee weapons that both can be very, very nasty, especially with just the sort of boatload of special rules that they each come equipped with. And again, add to that hard chargers. So either way, they're going to be very, very solid in close combat. And again, just taking advantage of their special rules, right? The quick, the hidden, skirmishers, scouting for the other guys, for both guys actually, and then hard chargers, right? We can do our best to be as annoying and efficient as possible with these guys and whittle down any foes that stand in their way, basically. So those are the big things there. Let us know, guys, if you have run the Darien and what your thoughts are on the force as a whole. This is an interesting one too, because we haven't really seen the sort of forced upgrade and or downgrade rule yet, really, in an army list. But again, we do get hard chargers for free as well. And compared to a lot of the other lists out there, right, this is probably the most limited list we've seen as far as unit choices. So let us know, guys, how you've fared with those and what you've had as good matchups and bad matchups. Hit us up in the comments. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll have more Blood and Plunder for you soon.